संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So we are in the 8th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, where we find that Bhagavan is saying that what your last thought is at the time of death decides your destiny. And that's why he is giving some procedure, some prakriya, by which we can consciously depart from your body at the time of death, thinking of the divine and divine alone. So what's the 10th verse of the 8th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, which we studied in the last class? That was the verse with which we concluded our discussion. To have a continuation with the discussion today, let us just start with that verse and then we will proceed to the succeeding verses. Prayana kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukta yoga valena chaiva bhruvor madhye pranam avishya samyak satang param purusham upaiti divyam. Prayana kale, at the time of death. Manasa achalena, with the mind fixed, without wavering. Achala. Achala means it's not wavering. The mind is not wavering. It's fixed to what? Bhaktya yukta. With bhakti. Bhaktya means with bhakti. Yukta means connected. Yoga valena chaiva. That yoga vala. Yoga again means conjunction. Yoga means union. That Atma, Paramatma, the devotee and the Ishta. So this union. Yoga bala, how we attain that? We should have practiced meditation throughout your life. Throughout our life. Unless we have done that bala, that strength won't come. Yoga bala, it comes through that practice. That throughout the life I have practiced contemplation. And for that, Bhagavan said that to contemplate on the Lord, thinking Him to be the transcendent reality, that He is something beyond this phenomenal existence, that will never make your meditation effective. Why? Because yes, when I am sitting in my meditation posture, in front of the altar, thinking of the divine, most probably I can keep my mind fixed to the Lord. But when I come back from the meditation, I have to deal with the everyday responsibilities of my life, and then it becomes secular. So that's why when Bhagavan is saying meditate on me, we are not going to the preceding verses, but we find elaborately Bhagavan has said that me is not alone transcendent. It's not something beyond this phenomenal existence. This phenomenal existence actually is a manifestation of the divine. The divine is finding manifestation, is being projected as this world and world alone. So when you come out of your meditation, don't think that your meditation is over. Throughout my day, whatever activities I am doing, with that attitude, that all my activities are as if an offering to the divine, with this attitude, that go on with all your responsibilities. Then what happens? Then only that meditation becomes uninterrupted. Then you get that yoga bala. So with that yoga bala, with that power, which you have developed throughout your life, by unceasing contemplation on the divine, whether I am meditating or not. Contemplation in the world of action, contemplation in meditation. With that, I have gathered that strength. Now I am capable to keep my mind fixed on the Lord. Now the question is, when I know that my death is coming. So that also we were discussing in the last class, that if we have a natural death, most of us do have that awareness that death is arriving. We give that example that there are 5 types of prana vayu. Prana, apana, udana, vyana, samana. We are not going to the details. We will just pick up that udana because it has to do something with the departing of the soul. That udana vayu and apana vayu, these two, as for a comparison. What is apana vayu? That the vitality which enables us to excrete all the so-called toxins. Excretion, the nature's call. We gave that example that you will find that we do have some voluntary action over the apana vayu. That whenever we have a nature's call, to certain extent, for a certain period of time, it is voluntary. You can decide when you can go for your nature's call. But if you are resisting, and after some times it becomes involuntary, you have no control over it. The same thing happens at the time of death with the udana vayu. Udana vayu is the prana shakti, is the vitality which helps the soul with the subtle body, not the soul. The soul is associated with the gross body as well as with the subtle body. So when I am departing, the soul dissociates with the physical body, but it is still associated with the subtle body, your mind. So with the subtle body, when the soul is departing, it takes the help of this udana vayu. And quite before our death, we become aware. All of us become aware of that something wants to come out. But as we have tremendous clinging to life, what we do? We just go on resisting it. We just go on grasping it. No, we don't want to just allow it to leave our body. But as we said, that apana vayu is voluntary for some time. After that it becomes involuntary. It will be forcibly. The toxins will be ejected out from your body. Similarly here, the prana vayu, the subtle body will be forcibly ejected out of your body after some time. In Yoga Sutra, this indication of a person that is about to leave his body is called arishta. So this arishta, that's the period. That's the period which is very important for one who has really practiced unceasing meditation throughout his life. Now he can leave the body willfully. This is called Ichha Shakti. It is Ichha Mrityu. It's not that I can live as long as I want. As a mortal being, everyone has to die. Ichha Mrityu means when the death has come, there is certain span of time within which I can do it voluntarily. So you will find, if you read the life of many of the saints, they are asking, please bring the almanac. He wants to see that what's an auspicious time. And he decides it consciously. It's not that any time. You'll say, oh, he suddenly left. No, never. He understood that he is about to depart his body. That udana vayu is trying to come out. It's forced out. But still it is voluntary. He decides the time and takes necessary preparations to leave the body. And this necessary preparations has been spoken of here. Very interesting. Sometimes examples are very nice. If you read the life of Swami Vivekananda, the last day of his life, very interesting. Unusually, he meditated in the morning for 3 hours. No one was allowed to enter the shrine. At that time in Belur Math, the shrine was very small. It was in the upstairs, that if you go, that old shrine is still there. That day he didn't allow anyone to enter the shrine. He closed all the doors and windows and he was meditating for 3 hours in the morning. And then all could hear singing him song. that the song was Shama Ma Ki Amar Kalore, Kalo Rupa Digambar. It was a song, divine song on the Divine Mother, on Mother Kali. Full of this devotion he was singing. He came out. The rest of the day no one could even have an inkling. He just gave some indications which no one understood. He told one of his brother disciples that after I die, cremate me here, that the place where Swami Vivekananda's temple is, he himself indicated that place, that's the place you should cremate. He thought it's most probably his wish, sometimes it will happen. But it was already, he has decided, that's the time. And the day passed, he took as usual the class of the brahmacharis in the afternoon. At night, when the Aratrikam was going on, he sat on his room. Every day he used to sit just as usual, facing the east. That's our practice. That day, suddenly, unusually, his face was towards Dakshineshwar. That from Belur Math you can see the Dakshineshwar. He faced the Dakshineshwar. He most probably reminisced the days with his Guru, Sri Ramakrishna. There, the Divine Mother, Sri Ramakrishna. That one, his attendant who was near him, saw tear rolling down his eyes. He went for meditation and he told that please don't allow anyone to come in the room. Don't disturb me. If I call, then you come. And then after an hour of meditation, the Sevak came and he found he's still meditating. He went again out of the room. And that's the day. It was a very, very a planned way. And then when the Sevak again came, he found that Sri Ramakrishna, if you go to Swami Vivekananda's bedroom in Belur Math, it's still maintained. You will feel as if someone is still staying there. That's the way they have maintained. The last day, the way the furnitures were, the bed was, it is still maintained that same way. The Western disciples gave him a very luxurious bed. It's very, it's a very thick mattress. It's full of spring, but he would never get sleep there. He was never habituated. That bed is there. The devotees gave, it was there, but he used to sleep on a small cot beside that big bed. On that he used to sleep. And he sat for meditation on that bed. And now when the attendant came, after finding that there is no noise for a long time, he found he's lying. And not only that from the eyes the bloods came out. He has left his body. The doctors came and then all realized that he has left his body. Why we are just saying this, we will find that there's Udana Vayu, willfully, when you give out. These impressions are very, very, you will find, you can easily relate to these slokas. That how this, so when you have decided that you are going to leave your body, the death has come, but I want to leave it willfully. That many will be saying. That you say Swami Vivekananda left his body by his own will, but we know he had 30 diseases when he had the time of his death. He died because of disease. Yes, it is because of disease he has died. But still it is Michhamritu. Why? That when the time of death came, he knew it has come. And there is a particular span within which he can do it voluntarily. It's very interesting. In his letters he has mentioned that the exact date also. There is a very nice poem, the 4th of July, on the day the America got independence. So he has spent his, quite a span of his life, some 6-7 years in the States. That's where he preached the Vedanta, the spirit of liberation in the Americans that really inspired him, and that he related with the liberation of the soul from the body. And he wrote a poem, the 4th of July. So many letters he is mentioning that I won't be there to see my 40s. He died at the age of 39 years, 5 months. In the letters he has mentioned, I won't be there to see my 40s. Just all this gives the indication that when, yes, the time has come, And now he sat for meditation, and when it was found that he has left his body, very interesting, Bhruvor madhye pranam avishya samyak. Between your eyebrows, you concentrate your entire life energy. You know this Udana Vayu, which speaks of the living of the prana shakti, from where it is living, that is very important. It can even, prana vayu can go out. You will find sometimes just before death someone has the urge for this nature's call, and in the process he dies. So we say that it's a belief that the prana vayu went out through the lower portions of the body. It happens with many, those who are so-called very worldly person. But a yogi, he can decide that how to depart. He can depart from the upper centers, which speaks of that spiritual elevation. So here, willfully he is concentrating between the eyebrows, Bhruvar Madhye, Pranam, Avishya. He concentrates all the life forces there, Avishya Samyak. Satam Param Purusham Upaiti Divyam. Such a person will attain, certainly attains him, the Param Purusham, the Supreme Purusha, the ultimate divine reality. He is bound to attain him. So just see, there was eyes, it was found that a blood came out from his eyes when Swamiji passed away. It's a very rare thing. That throughout the day he has passed, now if you try to relate, that it was just the way a yogi departs. That time has come, but I won't allow the prana shakti to leave the body involuntarily. Let me decide the time, this occasion, and then thinking of my Lord, thinking of my Ishta, I will leave the body. So that's the thing, wonderful thing which we saw, that we were saying that one of Sri Ramakrishna's disciple, woman, lady disciple, she was highly revered. Even in Belur Math she used to come, Nistarini Devi. All the sadhus, because he had been in association of Ramakrishna, naturally all had a tremendous reverence. Though she was not a monk, she was not a nun, all had a tremendous reverence because she was highly spiritually evolved. She was in association with Sri Ramakrishna. And one day she came to Belur Math in the evening when all the brahmacharis were meditating. It is a sight to see, all sitting together, pin drop silence, wonderful vibration, all meditating. She came, she was happy. But after seeing that, after the meditation, when Nistarani Devi was still there, when the brahmacharis heard that she has come, they came to meet her. And she told, oh, very nicely you were meditating. But know one thing. In Bengali, she just mentioned, Murte janle hoy. That, Jotoi jab dhyan karo, Baba, Murte janle hoy. That you may go on doing meditation, but unless you know the art of dying, it's of no avail. So that's what she was saying. So this, we speak of art of living. Bhagavad Gita here speaks the art of dying. This is something, the most inevitable thing in our life. No one can avoid that. So there is an unnecessary taboo on this idea of death. No one discusses of it. But it is there, inevitably waiting for us. Why not have a preparation for it? So that it can decide my course of life after the death. We all believe in that afterlife. That how should my destiny be after the death? So for that, have this preparation. Have the art of dying. Murte janle hoy. That's how nicely been spoken of in this wonderful verse. And then, that how to have that yoga bala, that throughout the life your practice should continue. That will be spoken of in the next portion from the 11th to the 13th verse. So meditation on the Supreme Person through Om will be described. What it is saying? Yadaksharang, the 11th verse. Yadaksharang Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yat Yatayo Vitaragaha Yadichanto brahmacharyang charanti tatte padang sangrahena pravakshe. So those who knows the Vedas, Vedo. Who knows the Vedas? I can also, nowadays everything is available in the press, printing material. Just I go through the Vedas. Can I be called a Vedavit? No. The scripture says a Vedavit should be a Brahmavit or at least Paramparavit. That it is not that just like a novel I have studied the Vedas. There is a tradition. The Vedas are nothing but the realization of the saints and seers inscribed in the Vedas. So they, through some practice, went through that realization. And after going to the realization, out of compassion, they instructed all those who were the earnest seekers. And after following those instructions, they also went to that realization. And that's how a lineage has been formed. Just the way that a family lineage is there, the biological lineage, that's similar way there is a spiritual lineage. Guru Shishya Parampara. From the Guru, the heritage has been transferred through realization to the disciple. So those who study the Vedas following that heritage, they are called the Paramparavit. They know the tradition. Because there are so much of hidden meanings within. That's why we study the scriptures. Why is the need of the class? Anyone can open the book, a printed material is there. But these are necessary because behind these words, so much of tradition is there. Just now we were speaking of Swami Vivekananda. So this tradition is there. That this, for ages together, the sages have practiced this following the lineage and went to the realization, and that's how the heritage is and something living. It's a living tradition. So one has to be a follower of that to really understand the import of the Vedas. So either he should be a Paramparavit, that he knows the lineage, and not only that knowing the lineage also is not sufficient. Veda is the only scriptures we say you have to transcend the Vedas. Throughout the world we find the scriptures say believe in the scriptures. We say that believing in the scriptures is not sufficient. You start with the belief, but at last you transcend the scriptures. Why? Because at last your realization in something which cannot be just spoken of. The simple example which we give, the one who have tasted the mango, he only knows the taste of mango. However, he may read book on the taste of mango. Can he ever really understand the taste of mango unless he has realized? So Vedas are very clear about it. What you find in these scriptures is ativada, is something which is beyond your realization. You are speaking something which is beyond your realization. So it is full. They accept. Veda says, Veda is nothing but ativada. But you have to become following it, na ativada, na ativada. It has to take you to some realization, not mere belief. You have to transcend this. So such a person is called Brahmavit. So when they say Veda Vida, it means either Paramparavit, and following the Parampara, your aspiration is to become Brahmavit, to the knower of the Brahman. So these two persons are called the Veda Vida. Such a person, Yadaksharam, they know the Akshara. That in this world, whatever I see is going through the process of decay. But behind this creation, as the substratum, there is the ultimate reality which is never going through any decay. It is as if in the eternal present. It is the Purana Purusha. Why the ultimate reality is called Purana Purusha? The word Purana is very interesting. Pura api navaiva is Purana. Pura means old, Nava means new. Though it is old, but it is always new. Because it's not aging. It is as it is. That ultimate reality. That is Akshara. Akshara. Kshara means to decay. Akshara means that's not decaying. The consciousness, the conscious principle, the divine, which is non-decaying. The who knows them, those who have followed the tradition, and following the tradition went to the realization. So Yadakshara, Vedo Vido Vadanti. This Vedavid speaks of that Yadakshara, that Akshara Purusha. Vishanti Yat Yatayo Vitaraga. Vitaraga. Raga means attachment. So Vita means past tense. That which has already is no more there. Even in Bengali, in all the Indian languages, in Hindi, Vidgai. Vidgai means that which is past, which has already happened. So there are some persons for whom raga, attachment, is a past tense. Vidgai. It is no more there. Just see, these words are so wonderful. Vitaraga. The raga is past tense. So these ascetics for whom all the attachments has fallen off, it's no more there. It's a past tense. Vitaraga. Yatayo Vishanti. These ascetics practitioners practicing. They know very well that this world is just, everything is in its process of flow. Samsara, samsarateti samsara. Everything is flowing. Everything is changing. Everything is decaying. Behind that, the reality is there, which is Purana Purusha, which is never changing, which is Akshara. I have to attain that. The Vishanti means this aspiration to attain that. And one who is trying to aspire to attain that, for him naturally all the desires has to fall off. It has to be a spontaneous process. We cannot force out our attachment. Impossible, unless we have a higher ideal. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, the more you go towards the east, the west automatically falls behind. I cannot push the west. The only way to get rid of the west is to have to go towards the east. So the one who is aspiring, who has some aspiration, he only can become Vitaraga. So Vishanti Yat Yatayo. So when I know I have an ideal in front of me, it speaks of the attainment of eternity. So for him only, all the ragas can become past tense. They fall off naturally. Yad icchanto brahmacharyam charanti. To attain which a brahmachari. So these words are very important. Generally, we brahmachari, we take it as a negative sense. What? Oh, he has renounced the world. Oh, as if he is full of sorrow, nothing to enjoy. No. Brahme charati yasa brahmachari. His renunciation again. This word speaks a lot. The one who is constantly contemplating on Brahma. Brahme charati. One who is constantly moving along with Brahman. Charati means to move. Brahme, who is moving on Brahman, who is constantly contemplating on Brahman. For him, if you have to be constantly contemplating on the Lord, the other distractions are bound to fall off. So it is something positive. Brahmachari renunciation is something positive. As we say, that when someone went to a monk and said, oh, you have renounced, you are a great renouncer. The monk says, it is not me, it is you who have renounced. I have renounced something trivial for something which is the real value, which has the real worth. And you have renounced something which is the real worth for something which is trivial. So whose renunciation is bigger, greater? It is you who is a greater renunciator. So this is the idea, that brahmachari is not something negative. I am renouncing something trivial to get something which has the real value. So yat ichchanta brahmacharyam, to get that, to be one with that, the one who takes the vows of brahmacharya. Tatte padam sangrahena pravakshe. So I will now explain to you briefly the path to that goal, how to attain that goal. So that's through the contemplation on Omkar, which will be spoken of in this next verse. What it is saying? This 12th and the 13th verse. First, like us, the 12th verse. Sarva dvarani sanyamya. Sarva dvara means the doors. Sarva means all the doors. Sarva dvarani. Dvarani is in dwaras, plurals tense. This is dvarani. Doors are dvarani. Dwara is singular. Dwarani is plural. Sarva Dwarani, all the doors. Sanyamya, by restricting, by closing them. So what it indicates? So this body has 9 doors. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 4, 2 nostrils, 6, mouth, 7, organ of excretion, organ of procreation. This other 2 exits. So total 9. Sanavadware pure dehi naiva kurvan nakarayan. In there's a nice, this what it speaks of, that the one who is the dehi, the one who is residing in this body is something which is a vehicle. It is carrying someone. The dehi is carrying someone. Whom he is carrying? The dehi, the Atman. He is sitting there as just as the witness. Na naiva kurvan, it does nothing. Na karayan, nor does it make anyone to do anything. It is just the witness sitting there. And he's sitting where? In a chariot which has this 9 gates. So this dwara is not speaking of any, of a house, the gates. Sarva dwara speaks of this, all the organs, all the orifices through which I interact with the external world. To be closing them. Sarva dwarani sangyamya mano hridi nirudhyacha. So the mystics know that we are aware of these 9 gates, but there is another gate. When a mystic says the Lord is there sitting in your heart, when someone asks Sri Ramakrishna, where shall I meditate? Immediately he says, heart. Dhonka mara jayega. That's the living space. Why is the living space? The Sri Ramakrishna's analogies are wonderful, that we say in our scriptures God is everywhere. But the devotee's heart is the God's living place. What it means? That God is everywhere. In your house, you can go around anywhere. You have the access to each and every space in your house. But when some person comes to meet you, where do you meet? It's in the living room, isn't it? In the living room you sit and meet. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying that the devotee's heart is the God's living place. He's everywhere. But he meets with the devotee here. It's in the heart. But we are not aware. So the mystics actually, there is another door. There's a door in the heart. This in the heart has another door. It is always closed. There's a nice Tagore song. Mo hridayer gopono bijono ghore roech ekela roecho nirabo shoyono pore priyotamo he jago. So, O Lord, you are sleeping in the core of my heart. I want to arouse it. How? The door which is closed, which is not allowing it to see, that is closed. Why it is closed? Because it's a wonderful mechanism, this body. As long as these outer doors, this Sarva Dwara is open, that door will always be closed. As we give the example of a jail. If you go to the jail, any jail, there will be 2 doors. It's not that you have to enter the jail, there's only 1 gate, there are 2 gates. Why? It's a precautionary measure. That they never open both the gates just in one time. When one gate is open, they ensure the other is closed, locked. Why? So suppose someone has to enter. If both the gates are open, that may give a chance for those who are inside to run, to escape. So what they do? So when someone has to enter the jail, they will ensure the inner gate is locked. And then they will open the outer gate. Now you come between the 2 gates. Then first they will lock the outer gate. And then they will open the inner gate. In India, we used to go to the jail. From the jail sometimes, that they asked us that why they are staying there. It's good. They have some satsang they also want. So why not you come? So that way we used to visit. We found it's very interesting. 2 gates are there. So our body is also like that jail. 2 gates are there. There's 1 gate in the heart and the 9 gates outside. Unless I close these 9 gates, outer gates, the gate in the heart will never open. are never aware, we will never be aware of the one who is sitting there. That's being indicated. Sarvadhyarani samyamya. Mano, then only this hridaya comes. Mano ridhi niruddhyacha. Then only you can associate with the one who is sitting there. Then only it opens up. Murdhini adhaya atmana pranam asthita yoga dharanam. So when you close all your indriyas throughout your life, you have practiced meditation, you have filled the palpable presence of the Lord in your heart. Now this is at the time of death. When it is so easily, palpably felt here, now you have the capacity, because throughout your life you have practiced. By sangyamya, by controlling all your senses, you have felt the presence of the divine in your heart. It has become a palpable, felt reality in the, the core of your heart, in the lotus of your heart. You feel it. Now, through yoga vala, it's easy to take him up in the murdhini, between the eyebrows. Murdhini adhaya atmanam pranam asthita yoga dharanam. So then, drawing the life breath, that as we were saying, this udana vayu, to the head. Murdhini means between the eyebrows. One should get established in steadfast yogic concentration. Just what is specific instructions they have been given. These slokas we should read again and again, again and again. It gives us a tremendous motivation. What we are doing with the life. You know this when Anna Hazare, in his life, at one moment, he was in such a despair, he contemplated on committing suicide. And he was standing in the Pune railway station for an announcement that a through train will pass. It won't stop. And he decided, I will jump. And in India, sometimes, that at least in this case, the delay of the train was something which transformed the life. There was an announcement that train which is going to pass through is coming half an hour late. And now this Anna Hazare he was just 24 years at that time. He was restless because he has already taken the decision, and now the train is late, so he was very restless. So what to do? He saw a bookstall and he went there and was just fumbling through the books, and suddenly got a booklet of Swami Vivekananda. So what a booklet of Swami Vivekananda, he just turned the pages and just see how the destiny works. The quotation which he has gone through is very interesting. How many lives you have wasted? Why not give one life for me? That was a line he read. And then his decision changed. He thought, so most previously so many lives I have wasted. This life also I was going to waste. If I have already decided to waste, why not waste if all these ideas are all rubbish? But I have wasted so many lives. Why not give this idea for this idea? If it is rubbish, I will be wasting one more life. But let me try. So waste one life for me. That's what Swamiji is saying. So here, this is the thing. There's so many lives we have wasted. So after all, what's the life for? We, with all our aspirations, we just become some, get some good job, get established in life. What's all? After death, you are just deleted. No one remembers you. Who remembers? Even in your lifetime, when you find you are aging, you have lost your value. No importance people give. That's nature. Swami Vivekananda speaks this truth in so bold, forceful language. Nature gives, it's not we who acquire. Nature gives us everything at certain point of time. If it is me, then I would have stayed with my intelligence, with my youthfulness throughout eternity. It's not me. Nature has given at certain point of time. I acquired. I thought it is mine. And the time comes, nature starts taking away everything. You have no power to stop it. Nature gives everything at certain point of time. It takes away everything at certain point of time. And we just despair and weep, realizing what I have done with the life. What the life was. Was it for this? But Swamiji says, that's Maya. This thought, the genuine thought, that after all the life was a waste. It comes only at the time of death, when I have nothing to do. Just see the way, if I would have understood previously, I would have really went for this, attaining this ultimate fulfillment, which is going to give me the fulfillment for which there is no way again to have the urge for getting something else. Krita kritya. I have done something for which I won't have to do anything else again. So in our life, whatever ambition we have, through some action I achieve that, and again I find some other goal is waiting for me. I'm never satisfied. But the scriptures are asserting, Bhagavad Gita is asserting, no, there is something which will make you feel krita kritya. Whatever has to be done has been done. I have nothing else to do. I have attained. So that's the thing, very nicely Bhagavad Gita is pointing out. Adha Atmana Pranam says, for this, that don't waste the life anymore. Give your, this Jibone Uddeshya, Sri Ramakrishna is again and again saying in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, so this line, Jibone Uddeshya Bhagavan Love. The only one goal of life is to attain this spiritual dimension of our existence. Bhagavan Love means that. That's the only goal. All other goals are just something ephemeral. It has no value. After you attain, you will find so many things are there you have to attain. It can never give you fulfillment. The ultimate fulfillment is there. And that's why this wonderful thing Bhagavan is saying, At pranam asthita yoga dharanam, you hold there through the power of yoga, which you have developed throughout your life, without wasting your life. You have attained that. Hold it here. It is already there. From here, raise it up between the eyebrows. And then, Om Ityeksha Aksharam Brahma. Om. There's Omkara. You'll find that Swami Vivekananda wanted a temple where the deity is Omkara. Why? Well, that will be universal temple. Whether you are a Vaishnava, whether you are a Shaivite, whether you are a Shakti Upasaka, if you have taken your mantra, you will find Omkara is there. Any of your scriptures, whether Vaishnava, whether Shakta, whether Shaiva, or whatever it may be, Omkara is always there. So that's Omkara has been spoken of as the nomenclature of God in all our scriptures. That's the universality. This Om is why it has been named, given the name of God as the name of God, Omkara. Because the name should represent the thing which you are naming it, isn't it? It should represent. That sometimes we will find that our sannyasa names are given that way. I still remember in Lucknow there was Mahapurush Maharaj's disciple, Shanta Swarupananda, his name was. And we find that how appropriate was the name. Shanta, he was always calm. We have never seen him agitated. A wonderful smile in his face. Just go, if you are in turbulence, you don't have to go and speak to him. Just go and sit near him. You feel that his calmness is something which has an induction effect. Those who are sitting near him, you feel calm. It was our daily routine. Our other monks have told that make it a point just to go and sit. Whether he talks or not, that's immaterial. Go and just sit near him. And we still remember that when he used to take his meal, that was the time we used to go and sit near him. Just sit near him. And as we used to sit quietly, he will say, why just sitting quietly? Read something, read the gospel. So we used to read the gospel. That's what we used to do. So why I'm just saying that? That a name represents the person. The Guru gave him the name, seeing what he is going to be. And that's what he became, Shanta Swarupa. So here also when we say Om is the name of God, why this Omkara has been selected? Now the scriptures say that the ultimate reality is beyond all modifications. He is a consciousness which is appearing as the world. The world is modifications. So we have to give the name to the Lord, some name which speaks something beyond the modification of all sounds. The sound from which all other sounds came, the sound which is in no way modified, which is in no way, there is any limitation on it. It's very interesting. This Omkar is very interesting. When you pronounce Om, just see when that sound is coming, it's coming from the vocal cord. U is the rolling of that sound through your mouth. That M, the closing of the lips. Now for any sound, very interesting, for all other alphabets, Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, Ka, Cha, Ta, Ta, Pa, all these alphabets, your tongue has to touch some part of your mouth and limit the undistorted sound in a particular limited fashion. So let's see how scientific these ideas were. That whenever I pronounce an alphabet, it gets limited. Limited in what way? See, we'll see this Ka Varga, Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, Wa. The middle of your tongue is touching the palate. Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha. Ka Varga, it touches the middle of the tongue touches the palate. Cha, 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 Ja, Ja. This front portion of your tongue is touching the teeth, the portion in the palate, still in the palate, but it is just on the upper region of the upper jaw. There, the teeth in the upper jaw, there it is touching. Cha, Cha, where the front, not the tip, the front portion of the tongue. The tip, not the tip of the tongue. The front portion of the tongue is touching. Cha, for Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, the middle of the tongue was touching. The Cha, Cha, Ja, Ja, still the face of the tongue, but the front portion, front face of the tongue is touching. Like that. Ta, Ta. Now you have to roll your tongue. The tip of the tongue has to touch the upper jaw. Ta, Ta, Da, Da. Like that. Ka, Cha, Ta, Ta. Now again, your tip of the tongue has to touch the upper teeth. Ta, Tha, Da, Dha. So this, very scientifically, all these alphabets have been developed. Very scientific. So what it's speaking of? That some undistorted sound. What's the undistorted sound? U. Just see the tongue is not touching any portion. As if the sound which has been generated in your vocal cord, that is rolling out. U, in the form of U. And it ends by closing of the lips. So nowhere the tongue is coming into picture. So that's the most undistorted sound. Undistorted is the moment that Omkara is limited, is obstructed by the tongue, by various portions, by touching various portions of the mouth, the other alphabets are generated. These all other alphabets represents this world, which is a limited expression of the absolute reality. That you are a limited expression of that absolute reality. I am a limited expression of that absolute reality. But the absolute reality is that undistorted, unadulterated, this conscious principle. So from that, all the sounds have emanated. From the Om, all other sounds has been produced. From that ultimate Purusha, all this entire world has emanated, which is all the limited representation of that absolute. And again, in it, everything will merge. So from Omkara, the world has came. Into it, the entire creation is going to merge. Because whatever I think, where this thought has two components, Nama, Rupa. A particular thing I see, immediately I nomenclature it, give a name. So, to think of God, an appropriate nomenclature should be there. That for that for that concept of the divinity, this Omkara, that's why is something which is the most appropriate representation. And not only that, it's not just that as it is, that logically viable, that's why I give the name Om. With the Omkara pronunciation, you will find that the mind itself is getting calm. They say that the best way to pronounce Om is also the same prakriya which has been spoken of. Thinking of when you're chanting Om as if the sound is originating from your vocal cord, it is moving straight up, it is not coming out of your mouth. If you will find the best way to contemplate on this Omkara is to think that the Omkara is rising up to your Sahasrara. If you do that, it will give a wonderful calming effect. When you are chanting Om, instead of just mechanically doing it, thinking the sound like other sounds coming out through the mouth, it is moving up. If you do that, it will give a wonderful focus. In the Yoga Sutras commentary, when they are describing Omkara as the nomenclature of God, there is Vyasa Bhashya. In the Vyasa Bhashya, this prakriya has been spoken of, this procedure has been spoken of. That when you are pronouncing Om mentally, not verbally, vocally, mentally, thinking that the sound originating from your vocal cord is moving up through your eyebrows to the Sahasrara, then it immediately helps you to gather your mind, concentrate. That's the prakriya. So that's the Omkara with which now we have to hold on to the Lord. It's very interesting. You will find that whatever, whether you are a Vaishnava or a Shakta or you are a Shaiva, whatever, or a Ganapatya, they believe in Ganesha as the ultimate reality. So you will have a mantra to chant, to do japa. But very interesting, all the mantras we will find is associated with Omkara. You know what's the reason? There's a very nice discussion on it in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that many will be chanting the Gayatri. Now, Gayatri is such a long mantra. And not only that, a Brahmin or the three Varnas, whatever it is, those who have been initiated in the Gayatri mantra, it's not just the mantra. First, they do have to do some rituals. They call it Sandhya Vandana, Sandhya. Sri Ramakrishna is saying, Sandhya Gayatri te loy hai. The Sandhya merges in Gayatri. Gayatri Omkare loy hai. The Gayatri merges in Omkara. What it speaks of? Now when I start my meditation process, when I am a novice in meditation, very interesting, you will find the mind is so disturbed, it goes on jumping from thought to thought. So at the very beginning, to keep the mind focused on something is very difficult. So what our scriptures did is something wonderful. That have a bigger mantra. Even you will find the Vaishnavas have this 36 akshara. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Such a big mantra. Why such big mantras? So it will help, it will give a longer bandwidth. To keep the mind focused only on Om is very difficult. So you associate the mantra with Omkara and then chant. Then what happens when your mind becomes more and more focused, you will find the bandwidth is decreasing. You cannot keep your mind focused in such a huge mantra. Then at last you have to resort to something. So the Omkara is the best sound to keep your mind focused when your mind is extremely concentrated. The most unadulterated and the disturbed sound. This something which is this unadulterated sound. To keep the mind focused there becomes easy when the mind becomes focused. You'll find in the Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna, so many nice examples he gives, which makes it very easy to understand. That a kirtan was going on. And kirtan was speaking. In the kirtan, generally they do lila dhyanam. That for some great sage or for Krishna or for God, they will be speaking of this lila, that is divine sport, which speaks of sequence of incidents. So that will be chanted in the kirtan, entire kirtana. You will find in all our in Indian traditions, you will find this kirtana has speaking of the divine sport. Now when one gets tremendously engrossed, you will find they have a tendency to forget about all the lines. One line which speaks of a tremendous inspiration or exaltation, they will hold on to that. So like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, they were chanting, they were doing kirtan of that. And suddenly one line came, Nitai Amar Mata Hati. That Gauri Nitai. They were so ecstatic in the name of Lord. When they used to go down the street dancing in the name of Lord, they used to look like a mad elephant, full of power. Their body is full of bhava. They cannot contain the bhava, they are dancing. So Mata Hati means a mad elephant. Nitai, Nityananda is just like a mad elephant. So this line inspired those who were doing kirtan. So they forgot the other lines. They started repeating this. Nitai Amar Mata Hati, Mata Hati. And then among them, a few got so engrossed, they couldn't even chant the entire line. They were just saying Mata Hati, mad elephant, Mata Hati. And at last, when they were so engrossed that the total physical activity stopped, they became almost inert. That the last word that everyone could hear was Ha. Just they said Ha and went into Samadhi. So what it speaks of, very wonderful, that when your mind is becoming more and more focused, your bandwidth is decreasing, you cannot keep that entire thing with you. So how nicely it has been devised. There is something to hold on at last. You may have a long mantra. At last you have to hold on to something. So at the time of death, throughout your life you have contemplated. You have thought of the God's Leela. All this has helped you to focus your mind. Now your focus has become so intense. It's difficult to have that huge bandwidth. Omkar. With that, let me merge with that in the Absolute, with the God. Om ityeksharang brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran yah prayati tyajan deha sayati paramangatim. So one who departs from the body while remembering me, the Supreme Personality, and chanting the syllable Om. Just see how nicely it has been spoken of. That throughout the life you have thought of his Leela, his divine sports, that has helped you keep your mind on the Lord. Gradually you have developed that tremendous concentration. Now, at the time of the death, you can think of the God, just think of the Lord just by holding onto that Omkar, nothing else. It is so engrossed. One who can do that, he attains me and me alone, will attain the Supreme Goal. Sahyati Paramangatim. Om iti aksharam brahma vyaharan. Vyaharan means to chant, chanting. But not only is mechanical chanting, mam anusmaran, thinking of me. That chanting is helping him to keep his mind on me. He is fully engrossed on me. In this state, one who leaves the body, yah prayati, tyajan dehan, who leaves the body, sahyati paramangatim. He attains that supreme departure, gati, the supreme goal, for where there is no return. He can remain merged in that Absolute. When someone told Swamiji, why Swamiji to merge in the Absolute? This world is what has done harm to me. Swamiji said, well, madam, be happy with the life. There are a few who do feel enough of it. It's for them. So with this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.